Government of India. Welcome, sir. It's an absolute honor and matter of great pride for us to welcome our esteemed panelists to joining us from different corners of the world in this celebration. A hearty welcome to you all. Since the Yuva Pravasi Bharati Divas 2021 is an effort to bring together the young achievers and youth change makers from India and Indian diaspora across the world, the celebration would be incomplete without their presence. So I'm extremely delighted to welcome our vibrant youth from all across the globe joining us today. As we all know, that the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas is celebrated on 9th of January every year by the Ministry of External Affairs. The Yuva Pravasi Bharatiya Divas on the same line is celebrated every alternate year. And it is a unique experience for all of us, as due to COVID-19, we are celebrating it virtually this year. As Swami Vivekananda says, Uttishtat, Jagrat, Prapya Varani Bodhat. That means, arise, awake, and stop not until the goal is achieved. So no pandemic is going to stop us. And here we are. Before we begin the program, I would like to give you a quick brief about the format of the event. There will be two sessions. The first session will be a ministerial segment in which honorable ministers will be guiding us with their remarks. And the second session is going to be a technical segment on the topic, bringing together young achievers from India and Indian diaspora, in which the panelists will be sharing their thoughts, views, and experiences on the topic with us. So, without any further delay, may I please request Shri Sanjay Bhattacharya, Secretary, OIA and CPV Division, Ministry of External Affairs, for his welcome address. Sir.
Thank you. Honorable Ms. Priyanka Radhakrishnan, Minister from New Zealand, special guest of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention, and a most distinguished Pravasi. Honorable Shri Kiren Rijiju, Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports, Honorable Shri V. Muralidharan, Minister of State for External Affairs, Ms. Usha Sharma, Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, and most importantly, Pravasis and dear members of the youth who are assembled here today. Good morning from New Delhi, and welcome to the Youth Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Conference, which seeks to bring together young achievers. In this dynamic and transformational era, guided by technology and innovation, where restructuring of the economy and social contacts is taking place at a rapid pace, and reform of multilateral institutions and arrangements is anticipated, the role of the youth is vital. If we look at the opportunities and challenges of the 21st century, we find that the challenges are mostly a legacy of our past, while the prospects for the future are brighter, particularly for a buoyant India with its empowered Indian youth and the vibrant diaspora. Every day as we look around, we find a deep concern for community and its welfare in the youth. We find positive action to protect our climate and harness our natural resources led by the youth. We find the birth of new startups and innovations of unicorns initiated by the youth. We find deep commitment to political and social action for democracy and freedom among the youth. It is as it should be that the youth are in the forefront of securing the aspirations for a better world. As you know, our approach in India towards the engagement with the diaspora is based on the 4 C's: care, connect, celebrate, and contribute. Perhaps the most beautiful part of this engagement is the one with the youth. For our diaspora youth, we recently held the Bharat Ko Janiye quiz competition, This linked the diaspora youth to their roots and to our glorious heritage. It will also provide an opportunity to the winners, who will be announced tomorrow at the inaugural session by the Prime Minister, to embark on a Bharat Darshan, that is a tour of India, coordinated by the Ministry of External Affairs. Our Know India program brings groups of diaspora youth for a familiarization tour of India. And this includes visits to historic and tourist sites, and also exchanges in institutions of excellence and interaction with the youth of India. The scholarship program for Indian diaspora provides avenues for studying in our premier institutions of learning, while sharing time and thoughts with their Indian counterparts. Our intention here in India is to build the bridges between the youth of India and the youth of our diaspora across the world. We build the bridges, and the youth will adorn it with their actions. India is a young country, and our youth today is more able and more willing to guide their destinies. We are enthused that we have a large proportion of young people in our population, as it adds vitality to our development process, as we are engaged in the transformation that will make India and the world a better place. In this, the youth has a great responsibility and an opportunity which can be realized through a shared common voice. It is thus appropriate that we begin the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas celebrations with this event commemorating the youth. I thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to the discussions that will follow. I feel energetic with the youth around us. Thank you.
So much, sir, for your kind words. Now, may I please take the privilege to invite the Kiren Rijiju, Minister of State, Independent Charge for Youth Affairs and Sports, for his inaugural address. Sir.
Good morning to all of you, and maybe afternoon in Australia and New Zealand, eastern part of the world. My dear colleague, Sri V. Muralidharan, Minister of State for External Affairs, Government of India, the special guest of the event, Honorable Ms. Priyanka Radhakrishnan, Minister for Community and Community Sector, New Zealand, Sri Sanjay Bhattacharya, Secretary Overseas Indian Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs, Mrs. Usha Sharma, Secretary Department of Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Dignitaries, Galaxy of Indian Diaspora on this virtual platform. I'm very delighted that my ministry is partnering with the Ministry of External Affairs to host this very important event. And I see the theme of this year, contributing to the Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is completely resonating with the idea of our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, make India truly self-reliant, a country which is very progressive and a leading force in the community of nations. I'm also very happy to inform that the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, we have been very, very active during this lockdown period and this pandemic period. And I'm sure our friends, our youth who have a root in India, ancestral root, you will feel proud whenever India does good. In the same manner, we also feel proud whenever any person of Indian origin succeeds in various fields across the globe. I have been traveling very widely across the globe since 1987 at a very young age, and whenever I see our person of Indian origin in any part of the world, I feel extremely delighted, and we celebrate their success. So I'm sure when India is doing good across the globe, they will also share the pride. They will definitely be very happy. And when Atal Bihari Vajpayee started this Pravasi market sometime way back in the period of 1999-2004, we all were part of those initial celebrations. And I could realize that our Indian friends, they felt connected with our country. They felt that they have not been forgotten. Because whenever I used to go abroad, there used to be some disconnect. They used to think that India is a country of their origin, but they have left it behind. There was no direct occasion to celebrate our connect. So, the visionary idea of Vajpayee, the entire Indian diaspora was brought under that platform. And this is something which we felt that it is the strength of India. India as a nation in Indian diaspora globally. We know our Indian diaspora, how successful they are wherever they are. And in the present time, it has never been like that Indian diaspora and India as a nation, we are so deeply connected. Our Honorable Prime Minister, wherever he travels, he must have has a special time for Indian diaspora. Addresses our Indian diaspora, he meets them and he exchanges ideas and invite people of Indian origin come to India and get connected with the roots. When I was Minister of State in the Ministry of Home Affairs, I dealt this subject of OCI very closely. After the announcement of our Honorable Prime Minister, we merged person of Indian origin and all other status under OCI, thereby making all the Indian diaspora very easily connectable with the country. No any kind of hindrances or obstacles in terms of visit, getting visa, or want to do anything in the country of their origin. Today, on this very auspicious occasion, but still a challenging time, we are still grappling with this pandemic. I think the youth across the globe, we have to take the leadership role. I'm very happy to inform that close to 7 million youth volunteers in India, we are in the forefront, working as a COVID warriors. And we are being, having the opportunity of working with international agencies, UN agencies who are working in India. We are tying up with various other departments, private organizations, and our youths are very much in the forefront in combating and defeating the COVID-19. So I'm sure our Indian diaspora across youth, I would like to appeal that we must connect more deeply the youth of India and the Indian diaspora. We must have a platform where we can share the ideas, we can converge our strength and work together. I'm forever ready as a minister in charge for the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. India is poised to take the leadership role wherever it is necessary. Our Prime Minister has shown his leadership. He has shown his skill to play a very critical and important role in the global affairs. Same manner, youth of India are ready. We will take whatever responsibility is given to us and wherever it is necessary. And in this occasion, I would like to extend my gratitude to the my colleague Muralidharanji and the entire team, including our the secretary and all the officers for giving this great platform opportunity to the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports. Our secretary, Department of Youth Affairs, Usha Sharma ji, is sitting here. Our officers are here. We are ready to take up any challenge, any responsibility, and we will be moving shoulder to shoulder with all our friends, especially the Indian youth across the globe. Without taking much time, extend my greetings to all the young friends. Till this is a new year, we are still fresh in the advent of the new year 2021, despite difficult time. Happy New Year to all of you, and best wishes to everyone for a more better time ahead, and wishing all a happy and New Year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your kind words, sir. Moving ahead, now I would like to request Ms. Priyanka Radhakrishnan, our special guest for today, Minister for Community and Voluntary Sector of New Zealand, to please share her thoughts with us. Ma'am.
Thank you. Can I just check that everyone can hear me all right before I start? Just a quick.
Yes, ma'am, you are. Yes,
right. Thank you. Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum. Greetings to all of you in the official languages of Bharat, of India. Namaskaram in my mother tongue, and in Te Reo Māori, the indigenous language of New Zealand, Tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening to you all. It's a warm summer evening here in New Zealand. Can I just begin by thanking you for the opportunity to be part of this conference this evening, and just begin by acknowledging Sri Sanjay Bhattacharya, His Excellency Mr. Kiren Rijiju, His Excellency Mr. V. Muralidharan, from the Indian government, other panelists who will be speaking this evening, and all the young people from different parts of the world who are watching this evening. It is unfortunate that we can't meet in person this year, but I am grateful that we have the technology that we do so that this, the Yuva Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2021 can go ahead this year, regardless of the global pandemic situation that we all find ourselves in. In fact, my last trip before our borders closed in New Zealand was to India, and it was part of a delegation that was led by our then Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Winston Peters, and our then Trade Minister, the Honourable David Parker. We were there along with a business delegation. We had a wonderful trip, and amongst other meetings, we also met with the Minister for External Affairs, Dr. Jayashankar, in a bilateral as well. And in fact, we've had about 3 ministerial visits to India from New Zealand just in the last term alone. And that's because New Zealand's relationship with India is a priority for us. And its importance, India's importance to New Zealand, continues to grow. India's strong economy, large population, and international influence make it a key partner for us in the Indo-Pacific region. And of course, both our nations have an interest in the prosperity and the stability of the Indo-Pacific. And in fact, India and New Zealand have a long-standing, warm and growing relationship with our ties going back to the 1800s, with Indians settling in Christchurch as early as the 1850s, large numbers of immigrants, particularly from Punjab and Gujarat, who came to New Zealand in the 1890s, Indian troops who fought alongside the Anzacs in Gallipoli in 1915, and today 5% of New Zealand's population is of Indian origin. And of course, we've been long-time sporting rivals on the cricket pitch as well. For me, as a New Zealander of Indian origin, the fact that I was born in India and still have close family in India means that my connection with India is even deeper. And I feel the warmth that Sri Kiren Rijiju mentioned in your speech, sir. You talked about the warmth, or the fact that India celebrates with those from its diaspora. And I must say that I felt that when I was sworn in as a Minister of the Crown here in New Zealand. I experienced an outpouring of warmth from India, from politicians, from the media, from faith leaders, community organizations, companies, individuals. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who sent me a message of congratulations as well. The portfolios that I hold in our current government include youth, the community and voluntary sector, as was mentioned, and also diversity, inclusion, and ethnic communities. and I'm also the Associate Minister for Social Development and Employment, all areas that are close to my heart and particularly important, I feel, in this changing environment, exacerbated by the impacts of COVID as well. And today I address you in my capacity as the Minister for Youth, where our focus, of course, is to support our young people to thrive and to focus on equity, on an equitable manner in which to do that. We had our election here in New Zealand in October 2020, and our government was sworn in the month after. Our current Labour government takes office at a time of unparalleled international crisis. It faces the greatest public health emergency since the global flu pandemic about a century ago. And the ensuing economic shock represents the largest global downturn since the Great Depression. So we've got some specific challenges to weather, but also equally some opportunities to build on. New Zealand's health response to COVID has been based on an elimination strategy, which means that our first line of defense is our border, and that a strong border regime is crucial to keeping COVID out of the community, and that involves a managed isolation facility that everyone has to go to if they cross the border, return to New Zealand. If it does reappear in terms of community transmission, it means stamping it out as soon as possible. As of yesterday, we've had 62 active cases at the border in our managed isolation facilities, and we haven't had a case of community transmission since 18th November 2020. New Zealand's success in fighting the virus means that we are better positioned for recovery compared to a number of countries. And we've already seen that, in employment, export and growth numbers are better than expected. And so our government's program for the next 3 years is to make the most of that head start. We've got 3 overarching objectives: to keep New Zealanders safe from COVID, to accelerate our economic recovery, and to lay the foundations for a better future. 2020 was undeniably tough for everyone, including our youth. And as I prepared for today's address, I thought I'd say a few words on youth well-being, which I think is particularly apt in this environment. And I hope, as I touch on some of the challenges that our young people are facing in New Zealand, that will resonate with youth across the globe as well. Youth I've engaged with, and the research that I've read from agencies who engage with our youth, tell us that there are some things that all young people value. Things like accessible, affordable, high-quality education, but equally being equipped with the life skills and the knowledge to thrive in the 21st century. Employment opportunities, wanting the cost of living to reduce, being able to afford their first home. There's also the fact that we live in a digital era, and that poses some great benefits, as we've seen during the COVID pandemic and as we see now, but it can also be dangerous. I came across a survey recently that noted that our youth, despite being so digitally connected, experience loneliness the most. And so ensuring that we support a variety of ways for young people to stay connected, whether it's through sports, through the arts, other activities, equally yoga, meditation, that I think are actually some of India's greatest exports to the West. There is also a huge appetite for social change amongst our young people. A significant protective factor for young people's well-being here in New Zealand is their sense of purpose and belonging. And interestingly enough, for many New Zealand youth, their sense of purpose was strengthened during the COVID pandemic and the lockdown, some of the highest levels of restrictions that we had here in New Zealand. And that's because many of them volunteered with organizations that were providing essential services to the elderly and to others who couldn't get out and shop for the basic necessities that they needed. In fact, we have a charity here called the Student Volunteer Army that was started by one young person and has now a membership of hundreds. And they mobilize every time there is a disaster or a specific need to come together and help others, like the COVID lockdowns. Youth have also told us that some of their greatest concerns are around issues of discrimination, whether that's racism based on ethnicity, sexism, discrimination against youth with disabilities, or those who identify with the LGBTQI communities. Certain groups of youth, as we know, face additional barriers and specific barriers. We also have a strong not-for-profit sector here in New Zealand, organizations that are run by young people from different ethnic communities, for example, who provide additional support to, say, new migrants, international students, including those from India here as well. We've got organizations equally that form support networks to lift the aspirations of our young people from specific groups. An example of that is our Young Sikh Professionals Network that is incredibly strong. Youth mental health, mental well-being, and the prevention of suicide are also challenges that we face here in New Zealand. And I find are issues that are raised increasingly by young people from our Indian communities as well here in New Zealand. And so our government's work program has a strong emphasis on improving early access to mental health support and also addressing some of the risk factors, strengthening the protective factors that support young people's resilience. We also need people in leadership positions to talk openly about what they do to take care of their physical and mental health so that our young people know that they're not alone when they do experience challenges or things like an imposter syndrome. And these are some things that our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Jacinda Ardern, talks quite openly about here. There's also, for those in leadership positions, often a societal expectation of what leadership should look like. And Prime Minister talks about that as well. In fact, she was recently interviewed, and I'll end on this. She was recently interviewed about her leadership style, her values, mental well-being, and she made an excellent point that I want to share here today. She said that often when we think about the values we want to teach our children, they're often universal values of generosity, honesty, kindness, humility, respecting others, treating others well, and we want them to be treated well as well. And yet, when we look to our leaders, we often expect something quite different. We expect them to be aggressive, to show no mercy, to be ruthless, to show no weakness. And so my final point is a message for young people, given the theme of today's conference is bringing together young achievers, both from India and the diaspora. My message for you is not to let society put you in a box and expect you to conform to stereotypes. Forge your own leadership style based on the values that guide you. And take some time out to protect your mental health, because we all do our jobs better when we're able to care for ourselves. Often that's seen as a bit of weakness, but it shouldn't be. So once again, can I end on that note and thank you for the invitation to be part of this conference this evening. And can I also take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your very enlightening remarks. And you rightly talked about the challenges faced by youth and your solutions. And as you said, that youth should pave our path in our own way. That is, I think, the youth who are listening to us right now, who are watching this program live. So they must be very inspired by your words. So thank you once again for your kind words, ma'am. Now, moving ahead, I would like to request Shri V. Muralidharan, Minister of State for External Affairs, Government of India, to please deliver his address. So,
Honorable Minister of State with independent charge for youth affairs and sports in the Government of India, Shri Kiran Rijuji. Special guest of this event, Ms. Priyanka Radhakrishnan, Honorable Minister for Youth, Community and Voluntary Sector and Diversity, Inclusion and Ethnic Communities of New Zealand, Secretary, Department of Youth Affairs, Srimati Usha Sharma, Secretary, Overseas Indian Affairs and Consular Passports and Visa, Sri Sanjay Bhattacharya ji, distinguished guests from abroad and India, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and namaskaram to all of you. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the Youth Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Conference of the 16th PBD Convention. Let me also take this opportunity to wish everyone connected to us a very happy, fulfilling and prosperous New Year. We have amongst us today our special guest, Ms. Priyanka Radhakrishnan, Honorable Minister for Youth, Community and Voluntary Sector and Diversity, Inclusion and Ethnic Communities of New Zealand. I thank you, Honorable Minister from New Zealand, for accepting our invitation and joining this conference live to share your ideas with Indian and diaspora youth from across the globe. Every year, we have the honor to host and interact in person with our young diaspora from different countries and continents across the world. However, the COVID pandemic has now altered dramatically the ways the world used to operate. As we all know, the digital and virtual platforms have become the new stages to meet and celebrate. That's why this youth conference is being held virtually this year. However, I'm sure the change in platforms of celebration has not changed our enthusiasm. Friends, the 31 million strong Indian diaspora have established themselves in all corners of the globe. But their links to India still remain strong and vibrant and serve as living root bridges which extend to the Americas and far-off Caribbean islands in the west, to the Southeast Asia and to the Pacific islands of New Zealand and Fiji, all the way in the east. This youth conference is aimed at bringing together the young generation of Indians and overseas Indians who are confident, aspirational, and are known for their entrepreneurial spirit, resourcefulness on a single platform. The theme for today's conference is bringing together young achievers from India and Indian diaspora. We wish to provide a platform for engaging the eminent diaspora youth with India's accomplished youth for discussing and exploring ideas to work in different areas to help India on its journey towards becoming a global leader. Today, India is seen as a rising power and lauded across the globe world for the way she has converged her strong democratic institutions with rapid development. India's youth is her biggest asset. With the median age of 28 years, India's population is among the youngest in this aging world. With more than half of the 1.3 billion population of India under 35 years, India's working age population has numerically outstripped its non-working age population. While the rest of the world is growing older, India is getting younger and younger. Herein lies the importance of the Youth Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Conference, as this gives you an opportunity to be a part of India's development journey towards a new and Atmanirbhar India, that is a self-reliant India. While the Indian diaspora started migrating centuries ago, it's the migration of the educated, highly skilled and dynamic Indians to the corporate boardrooms, research laboratories, engineering workshops, and university faculties that has brought laurels to India. While India is moving ahead on the path of development at a rapid pace, the achievements and support of our Indian diaspora abroad cannot be overemphasized. Indians are leading the world today. We have people of Indian origin as heads of the state and heads of the government, and as heads of large multinational corporations raising India's global profile. We all are witness to their recent electoral victories worldwide. I would like to recall the formations of government under His Excellency President Irfan Ali in Guyana and His Excellency President Chandrika Prasad Santokhi in Suriname. Our special guest, Ms. Priyanka Radhakrishnan, is the first woman of Indian origin to become a minister in the government of New Zealand. Indian origin leaders have also done exceptionally well at the recently held elections in the United States. Vice President-elect, Her Excellency Ms. Kamala Harris, with family roots in India, is the first woman to reach the apex of power in US. There are leaders of Indian origin in Congress, Senate, and scores have won seats in the state legislatures in the USA. The success of each of our overseas Indian has dramatically changed the world's perception of Indians and of India. The world now appreciates India and Indians for their indomitable spirit, their sense of dedication, their patience and forbearance in the face of extreme hardships, and then their embracing culture and values. Our diaspora is indisputable achiever in fields ranging from healthcare to education, from technology to entertainment, and from social sector to politics. Its achievement and success encourage us to create a business, investment, and economic climate which is as conducive to success as anywhere else in the world. We can immensely benefit mutually from your skills and talents and the vast opportunities arising with India's fast-paced development and transformation. India is the global leader in the number of startups and innovation in the technical field. World has recognized that Indian diaspora has made a tremendous contribution in the global technical field, with a majority of startups in the Silicon Valley having an Indian co-founder. With rapid technological advancement, India is a global leader in the space and science and technology. In order to leverage our demographic edge and to boost up our training and education infrastructure, we would like to partner with our young overseas achievers to enhance our skill development infrastructure. We also invite you to share your expertise with us in your areas of interest. The Government of India has initiated a spate of reforms in the economic and financial sector, which has immensely opened up India's investment regime. As members of our extended family, overseas Indians hold a special place in our plans for India's development agenda. We have launched a number of flagship programs such as Smart Cities Mission, the Digital India, the Skill India, the Startup India, the Swachh Bharat campaign, etc., in order to achieve our objectives of a prosperous, skillful, enterprising, clean, and futuristic Atmanirbhar Bharat. We invite you to help us define the contours of this new self-reliant India by participating wholeheartedly in these initiatives. My young friends, the government has also initiated many programs and schemes to help revive the connections of the young diaspora members to their motherland. The most important of these, as our Secretary CPV mentioned, is the Know India program, which gives a unique opportunity to the young students and professionals, particularly from the Gurbitia countries, to visit India and get reacquainted with their ancestral roots and witness the transformation of India in the field of politics, economy, science, and technology firsthand. Started in 2004, we have had 59 editions of Know India program since its inception. Another initiative is the Bharat Ko Janiye Quiz, which was started in 2015 to increase the awareness of India and its culture amongst the diaspora youth. The third edition of Bharat Ko Janiye Quiz was concluded recently, and the winners will be awarded tomorrow during the PBD convention in the presence of the Honorable Prime Minister of India. We are also keen on promoting India as the global education hub for high-class quality education. To enable our diaspora students an opportunity to study in Indian universities, we have initiated the scholarships program for diaspora children, which offers scholarships to Indian origin children to pursue undergraduate courses in Indian universities and institutes. Along with high quality education, we would like to see India to be a hub for high-end research and development capacities. We have started various programs such as Gyan, Vajra, and Mission Shodh Ganga, which are aimed towards fostering a strong international connect between the diaspora and the R&D ecosystem of India, and enabling the overseas Indian community to conduct high-end research in India. I would like you to contribute to the higher education and research and development sectors with your technical expertise and knowledge sharing, and help India harness its huge demographic dividend. Friends, India is going to be the global source of skilled manpower by 2022. And our Skill India program is aimed towards making India ready to become the skill capital of the world by then. Our aim is not just to export manpower to the world, but to export skills. Our program on Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana aims to enhance the skills of Indian youth who seek overseas employment, which will not only lead to better image of India in the developed world, but it will also lead to better salaries and better remittances, thus raising India's GDP further. I'm hopeful that today's deliberations will be fruitful in giving us insights into innovative ways in which our young achievers from overseas and India can collaborate together for mutual advancement and benefit. As you all are aware, we are holding the 16th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas tomorrow in the virtual format. I invite you all to participate in the PBD convention tomorrow and hear our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's vision for the diaspora and India. I would further invite you to witness the felicitation of the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman awardees, who will be announced in the presence of our Honorable Rashtrapati ji. Before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the Ministry of External Affairs to place my sincere gratitude to my esteemed colleague, Sri Kiran Rijiju ji, and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for their support in making this event possible. At the end, let me quote Swami Vivekananda, who inspired a generation of youth and still continues to do so, and who had immense faith in the youth power. He said, and I quote him, "All power is within you. You can do anything and everything. Believe in yourself. Do not believe that you are weak. Do not believe that you are half crazy lunatics as most of us do nowadays. Hence, you can do anything and everything without even the guidance of everyone or guidance of anyone." Unquote. Let us all believe in his words and march forward together. Jai Hind. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your words full of faith and energy for youngsters. And as you rightly said, that youth are the biggest asset for a nation. So when it comes on making India a global superpower, I'm sure the youngsters listening to us, they would take it very seriously and will fulfill the responsibility that lies on their shoulders. Now, I would like to request Secretary Youth Affairs, Mrs. Usha Sharma, to please deliver closing remarks for this session. Ma'am.
Honorable Minister of State, Independent Diaspora, and Minister of State for Minority Affairs, Government of India, Sri Kiran Rijiju, Honorable Minister of State for Muralidharan ji, Honorable Special Guest, Ministry for Community and Voluntary Sector of New Zealand, Radhakrishnan, Sanjay Bhattacharya, Secretary, Overseas Affairs, External Affairs, and esteemed members of Indian Diaspora for witnessing the program on this virtual platform. I am very pleased to be addressing this August gathering today. It has been an honor. In spite of this virtual address, owing to the global coronavirus pandemic, I think the spirit and the passion words of inspired and shall leave a lasting impression on our hearts and minds. India has the largest segment of youth and is the youngest nation in the world in terms of demography. So is the case with diaspora, largest diaspora population. This uniqueness, social change, the trajectory of India's overall development undoubtedly are youth, and for this very reason, engaging with the youth diaspora is critical to integrate both pools of talent. The Indian diaspora across the globe, their visible presence, innovation, business, corporate roles, and in government, dynamism, all ages has been the weak and so vital and vibrant. The youth have rights, participate actively, and in shaping the destiny of the nation, which is, in point of fact, their own destiny. Today's Indian youth have truly emerged as powerful economic in their own right, strengthen economic ties. The problems are many and varied, and their aspirations are naturally high. Fast and greater promise for them, therefore, is to create increasing opportunities for them to develop their personality, functional capability, thus to make them productive and socially useful. India is a vast country, cultural heritage symbolizes unity in diversity. The youth in India have always been in the forefront of development. Presently, the India's youth in the age group of 15 to 29 years comprise over one-third of its well-nurtured and equipped youth likely to contribute to capital. In view of this socio-economic scenario, the Government of India has formulated policy in order to make it more neat and in tune with the current requirement. After widespread deliberation, all its stakeholders, a national youth policy and the underlying theme of this new policy is to unlocking the potential of youth to advance India. Policy document outlines priorities such as employment, leadership, youth leadership and development. Underpinning each of these areas is the idea of social, leveraging the power of diversity amongst the youth and ensuring progress of the groups. Efforts are also being made to provide youth with ample opportunities to develop their skills, capabilities, personality, and become good citizens of the country. Today are much more sensitized than before, and several avenues for full and active participation in various spheres of development are being offered, structured and volunteer programs for community development and nation building. Government of India has launched Adventure, National Integration, provide assistance for training of youth, skill development, etc. Government of India also supports the youth hostel movement. There are several youth hostels that motivates young people to travel from historically, culturally, and are of education. Now, we are proposing to introduce a new scheme, National Reconstruction Corps, which would provide opportunities to young people to participate on a full-time basis, working in their own community settings. He has also signed MOUs with many neighboring and other countries, undertaking meaningful youth exchange programs. Young people are being encouraged to travel within the country, other countries, and share their experience and culture. They're also being encouraged to understand each other's culture and traditions, and so to develop friendship and peace. Young scientists are being encouraged to undertake research in science and technology, and performance of some of the young scientists in the developed nation a testimony to this fact. Delving into the theme of this 16th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, which is contributing to Atmanirbhar Bharat, the very befitting and globally relevant subject of very significance. Our country several incentive measures cover and restore the losses created by the global pandemic COVID-19. Post-COVID-19 in India, a variety of opportunities are being made available as there is tremendous local demand as goods and services are predominantly being offered, produced by various multinationals. But what is required is to self-reliant India as to with an international brands, quality locally produced, more attraction and attention both within and outside the country. The available raw material would cost much lesser compared to other countries. Therefore, the need is to concentrate labor-intensive manufacturing subjects for local consumption and export. Besides the Indian diaspora, investing, supporting, mentoring, and creating linkages for international markets and providing supply chains that India could create a sustainable competitive economy for the medium to long-term periods. As Atmanirbhar Bharat is dependent on creating avenues and sustain income generation conditions and increase productivity by the vast labor force, particularly for the semi and unskilled workforce available in India. Such suggested initiatives can ensure the shrinking GDP to recover than envisaged and a leap forward step to reduce poverty, inequality, and ensure better standards of living, break this vicious cycle. Sustainable developmental goals and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development provided new opportunities for diaspora engagement, for development, poverty reduction, reconstruction, and growth of countries' origin has enabled change in local communities. The rationale for intensifying diaspora engagement and embracing youth diaspora as a part of social, economic, and governance relevant developmental strategy building has never been stronger as a part of the global agenda. As I recognize the power of this platform, the Youth Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2021, my belief in the immense ability of our young torchbearers is reaffirmed. Heartiest congratulations to all the young leaders who are making the country. You're already shining examples of how in the generation of the young are committed to build a better world. I'm confident your ownership, energy, passion, together lay a strong foundation for development of India and the world. I close my remarks. I wish all of you very, very happy New Year. This year bring all the happiness and prosperity all of us. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And with this, we come to the end of our first session. And I would like to recite a beautiful poem by Dr. Kalam. O Mother, Mother India, you have nursed us and grown us and gave us a parting mission and an eternal message. O my sons and daughters, wherever you go, whatever mission you do, remember my children. My 3 advices golden. Always be truthful, even in danger. Sweat and sweat to acquire. Knowledge and need. Wherever you live, enrich the home. So, with this, we end our session, and I would like to thank our honorable ministers for joining us. Now, moving on to the second session, which is a technical session, I would again request Mrs. Usha Sharma ma'am to deliver the inaugural address and inaugurate the session formally. And before she addresses, I would like to give a small about ma'am. Ma'am is Secretary, Department of Youth Affairs in the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. She is 1985 batch IAS officer of Rajasthan Cadre. She has served at many significant positions to the Government of India, Director General, Archaeological Survey of India, Additional Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, Government of India, Additional Director General, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, to name a few. In her tenure as ADG with the Ministry of Tourism, she worked on e-visa, and today around 125 countries have been given the facility of e-visa. So I would request ma'am to formally inaugurate the session.
Again, and I'm truly chairing this session, and I've been moderator of the session, so I'll request the participants one by one to and that the discussion during the session is very interesting, and we do reach some of the we do get insight of and really gain something very fruitful. Request the panelists and the participants to
I think there is some technical issue. We cannot hear her properly. So moving ahead, as she said, I would like to request Dr. Yasmin Ali Haq as the first panelist today in this session. And about Dr. Yasmin Ali Haq, she is UNICEF representative to India since July 2017, with over 24 years of services in UNICEF, starting her career in Bangladesh. Ma'am has held leadership role in the Office of Emergency Programs, South Sudan, Ghana, Sri Lanka. Dr. Haq's leadership and professional experience spans over a wide range of fields, including policy analysis, strategic planning for women's and children's rights, child-centric development programming, and large-scale responses for children in humanitarian crisis. So I would request ma'am to please address us.
So thank you very much. Let me just check. Can you hear me okay? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, wonderful. So first of all, really big congratulations to our ministers from Youth Affairs, from MEA and from New Zealand for really honing in on this very important topic. Especially for us in UNICEF, where we truly believe that young Indians have and continue to demonstrate undisputed potential as leaders and change makers. I want to also thank you for inviting me to speak on this occasion. India is well known as an extremely young country in that we have demonstrated really the ability to move ahead, to innovate, and the fact that when we look at the 2010 population figures, globally we see that 1 in 5 young people in the world is an Indian. And at present, it's estimated that about 33 or 34% of India's population is youth. With the theme of this year's International Day on Youth was Youth Engagement for Global Action. It was in recognition of young Indians who are heralding positive socioeconomic and cultural change across the globe. Looking around really, and today especially, it gives me great pleasure to see that there are many a young achiever is gathered with us. And to all of you, I want to say this, that as one of the youngest countries in the world, that too one with a resounding global presence, it is our responsibility to raise our voices to positively influence the global agenda for building back better from this terrible pandemic that we face. In 2021, it is impossible to address a global community without mentioning COVID-19. We all know that the pandemic has exacerbated inequities, has impacted on most marginalized populations, especially adolescents and youth, in very fundamental ways. Yet the pandemic has also seen numerous audacious and courageous acts led especially by young people. And let me give you a few examples of what we know from India. First, there's 15-year-old Anash and Shravani, who developed and released their own radio-based life skill education program for the students affiliated with the Tribal Development Department of Maharashtra. They won the Global Challenge 2020 for the Generation Unlimited initiative that is housed with UNICEF. Then there is 17-year-old Hitarth Sheth, who developed a mobile application that makes e-learning possible for his classmates at first, and then for all Gujarati medium students. And this has got wide coverage in the newspapers. Of course, there's also 25-year-old Archana, an environmental activist belonging to the indigenous Kharia tribe from Sundargarh, Odisha, who was selected by the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, as part of his new youth advisory group on climate challenge. These are just some of the many thousands of young people who are making change across India. Lakhs and lakhs of our youth volunteers affiliated with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, National Social Service Scheme, and Nehru Yuva Kendra Shangathan, they distribute essential resources that include food packets, masks, and sanitizers among grassroots communities, as well as to provide the information that is needed, and importantly, to provide the psychosocial counseling that is so required by disadvantaged and displaced communities. UNICEF's key priorities for the young people of India is very important for us to be very clear on this, because we observe that even in times of duress, young India has risen above all odds and demonstrated tremendous resilience. And that is why today I want to take this opportunity to issue a call to action to the global community of young Indians gathered here. You have all heard the Prime Minister's clarion call for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our colleagues, ministers have talked about it today. Yet in order for an Atmanirbhar Bharat, or a self-reliant and self-sustaining nation, to emerge as a reality, we also need Atmanirbhar Yuva, or youth who embody exemplary self-efficacy and empathy, going back to the values that we heard from our Minister Priyanka. As UNICEF embarks forward, there are a few priority areas that we believe are required to build back better. And we invite you to the table as equal stakeholders, as partners, and as solution providers to employ that courage and empathy and lead with kindness on the following issues. First, really it's the resumption of educational institutions without losing sight of the gains we have made in the areas of digital learning and flexible learning. Towards advancing this very agenda, we join hands with Srimati Smriti Irani, the Minister for Women and Child Development, and UNICEF in India launched Generation Unlimited India, better known as YUVA. It's a multi-sectoral alliance with a public-private in its DNA. Since then, UWA has partnership with the Ministry of Youth Affairs of Sports, with various UN agencies, and I see Arun here also today. And importantly, not just with public sector, but also private sector. And we're working with the adolescent and young people to secure their seamless transition from learning to aspirational and gainful futures. We invite you all to join UWA's Secretariat and Youth Advisory Team in co-creating strategic priorities and solutions for over 300 million young people in India. Another area of focus for UNICEF is ending all forms of violence against children, be it physical, psychological, emotional, sexual, or cyber. UNICEF is working with parents, teachers, police, and entire ecosystems of young people to foster child rights. A crisis has always impacted young people in pernicious ways, triggered by families falling into poverty and debt. Children, especially young girls and boys, are forced to drop out of schools and into early and child marriage, into unskilled, unsafe labor. And really, today we invite you to join hands with us and work towards advancing an enabling environment where young people's agency and empowerment are prioritized and realized. Finally, at UNICEF, we are most keen on sustaining the momentum towards good sanitation and hygiene practices, something our mothers always taught us, washing your hands with soap. This has come back as one of the key measures to address a global pandemic. We also commit to mainstreaming and ensuring that appropriate water, sanitation, and hygiene information, behavior, and services are accessible to and endorsed by all. Therefore, we invite you to the table to educate, to overturn myths and taboo, to transform unsafe and hygienic behavior, and really work together towards promoting quality health and well-being for all. So really calling on you on a few key, very practical, very doable elements that have a great impact on the well-being of the communities you live in and the countries that you are passionate about. We call on all of you, young Indians and diaspora, or should I say really colleagues and partners. I hope you're ready for the challenge that is in front of us. I hope you are ready to join this movement of UWA, along with our youth advisors, advocates, ambassadors, and the government of India in building back better. As adult allies, we in turn promise to stand by your side every step of the way and support you with the necessary resources, the expertise, and mentorship to reimagine and build back better. I thank you for your time and really look forward to hearing from my other panelists. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts with us. And as there is a saying that youth is not just the future, but present of this country, of any nation. So whenever we talk about the problems that the society is facing, it becomes the prior responsibility of the youth to act toward those. So, taking points from your advisor, and about Professor, he's director at the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Technology, an institute of national importance under Ministerial. He has served as a professor at Pondicherry University and University of Calcutta. He has 29 years of research and administrative experience and has produced 19 PhDs in education, more than 100 recent articles. Professor Dave has received 5 national and 5 national awards for his contribution in academics and research, including an award from the Asiatic Society and Visitors Award 2019 from the Honorable President of India, Sri Ramnath. So I would like to request Professor Dave, please deliver his address.
Thank you very much. Honorable Sri Kiran Rijiju, Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Independent Church. Honorable Sri D. Muralidharan, Minister of State of External Affairs. Most respected Priyanka Radhakrishnan, Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs, New Zealand. esteemed Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Usha Sharma ma'am, esteemed Secretary, Sanjay Bhattacharya, Minister of External Affairs, distinguished panel members, dignitaries, guests, youth of the country, and the Indian diaspora participants who have joined the online conference. A warm good at the outset, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Ministry for considering the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development to be a part of this virtual conference on such an important issue. As Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development is the only national institute in India for addressing issues and challenges of youth and helping them to become self-reliant with basic skills. Before I present my views on bringing synergy between the Indian archivers from India and Indian diaspora, I would like to introduce, give a little more information about my institute. It was established in 1993. It is an Apex Institute functioning as a vital resource center with its multifaceted functions of offering cutting-edge exclusive academic programs encompassing various dimensions of youth development, engaging in applied research in the vital areas of youth development, coordinating training programs beside conducting extension and outreach activities across the country on various issues related to youth development and community development. The Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, under the guidance and leadership of Honorable Minister Sri Kiran Rijiju, proposes to introduce a number of new courses which are socially relevant, which is a job market, to join hand with other institutions of the country to convert India into a self-reliant country and to promote digital India, which is the dream of our Honorable Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji. As you know that a large number of youth every year go out for higher education. They perform extremely well, as we learn from different evidences, like Priyanka Radhakrishnan and other dignitaries, the speakers in this platform are the bright examples of their outstanding performance outside the country. And in fact, they act as a goodwill ambassador in terms of dissemination of information about Indian values, its culture, and its other positive aspects. While it is of significant importance to converge the expertise and services of youth archivers from India and Indian diaspora, I would like to place before the moderator about the specific role of my institute under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for overall growth and development of youth of the country. I would like to state here that the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development during this COVID pandemic phase played a very significant role to extend mental health support services to the youth of the country in terms of organizing various online programs on skill development, youth development, mental health and resilience of the youth, which was attended by a large number of youth of the country, and they found those programs are highly beneficial. In addition, the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development would be pleased to institute Pravashi Bharatiya Sanam Youth Award to honor outstanding contribution by young persons of Indian origin in their home country in the age group of 15 to 29 years, as defined in the National Youth Policy 2020 and in consonance with RGNOID Act 2012. The Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development may be considered as an overseas Indian facilitation center under the Center of National and International Collaboration of RGNOID to facilitate partnership with credible government institutions and carry forward various sector-wise youth development initiatives that would enrich the professionalism of young archivers from India and Indian diaspora. Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, an institute of national importance, may be considered as a nodal institute to host the Know India program for young persons of Indian origins, for providing them an orientation on youth development policies, programs, and best practices in India, as rightly mentioned by the head of UNICEF India office. RGNOID may be considered to set up a specialized counseling center to provide need-based guidance and counseling with diaspora career specialists in various fields for Indian youth seeking opportunities abroad through online or tele-counseling facilities. NRI Youth Development Specialist may enroll as a knowledge partner with Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for India's development. RGNOID would receive such knowledge from the domain experts for appropriate programs from the consortium of knowledge partner from time to time. RJNOD may be chosen to set up a center of excellence on child rights and protection to offer academic programs and conduct thematic research studies, as we strongly believe that youth development is not possible without child protection. So we pay special attention on child protection and promotion of child rights in our institute, and we propose to establish Child Rights and Protection Studies Center in our institute. RJNOD houses state-of-the-art facilities of international standards for conduct of various programs. So it may be designated as a center to hold mini Pravashi Bharatiya Divas conference, where the lesser privileged youth can participate from across the country. RJNOD, being a premier training institute for master trainers, may organize training or training programs on various skill domain areas for youth development. The community radio station of RJNOD may be utilized to record live programs with the domain experts of Indian origin residing outside the country on various days of national and international days of significance, as well as to guide Indian youth who wish to pursue their career outside the country. The Indian diaspora teachers and academicians in higher learning institutions may offer to partner with RJNOD for teacher semester program online so that the Indian youths are exposed to international standard of teaching. The Indian diaspora may initiate partnership for research with RJNOD, bring research project to the institute or refer the institute to international research funding agencies in their country of research for taking up various research on emerging issues and challenges related to youth development. On approval of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, RJNOD may offer internships or visiting lecturer status for short period to those interested and qualified diaspora that would be beneficial for Indian youth. RJNOD may be designated to play host to the diaspora delegations approved by the Government of India to provide cultural exchange programs, undertake historical site visits to archaeologically approved cultural spots, besides handling a segment of Know India program to expose the rich Indian cultural heritage. Specific gender and women empowerment related programs I would also like to organize in association with Indians who are settled abroad and doing extremely good job. RJNOD may be delighted to institute a distinguished lecture series by highly accomplished young personals in various fields through online platform to motivate and inspire Indian youth in their relevant fields and various walks of life. The Indian diaspora may sponsor to conduct international seminars, workshops, conferences, faculty-student exchange programs virtually, and that would help our institute to give exposure to our Indian counterpart on various scientific and other related skill development programs. I strongly believe that all these initiatives would strengthen the exchange of knowledge and expertise between Indian youth and Indian diaspora. With this few words, I conclude here, thanking the Ministry for giving the opportunity to share our ideas in this international platform for holistic development of India. Thank you, everybody, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your address. Now, may I please request Mr. Arun Sehdev to deliver his thoughts about Mr. Arun Sehdev. He started his career as a civil servant in the year 1993 and served the Government of India at different levels. He has over 2 decades of experience in public administration, disaster risk reduction, humanitarian affairs, training and capacity development, and program management. Sir has worked with UNDP, National Institute of Disaster Management, and Ministry of Home Affairs. Presently, he is working as the country coordinator for United Nations Volunteers. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Can you confirm that my audio is okay? Okay, great. So, good morning, good afternoon, and maybe good evening, colleagues from various countries. I'm delighted and honored to be part of today's event. First of all, honorable ministers, and honorable secretaries, and senior dignitaries, and also very prominent Indians from the diaspora who have joined us this morning from India for this virtual event. First of all, I would like to thank Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports for giving us this opportunity to UN volunteers, and also working with UN volunteers on a volunteering program. And we are very happy that Government of India has been doing a lot of work to promote volunteering in the country. So on this auspicious day of Yuva Pravashi Bharatiya Divas, I would like to congratulate the Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, for organizing this wonderful event. I would like to also congratulate the organizers for organizing this. So I think the theme of the event with Atmanirbhar Bharat, Atmanirbhar Yuva, and also how we bridge the gap between the Indian youth and the Indian diaspora. I think volunteering is the best means to bring everybody together, whether young, old, or living anywhere in the country. And I think COVID pandemic has made us realize that there is no boundaries now. So borderless world where technology is enabling all of us to connect on a real-time virtual mode. Also, like volunteering also provides a great source of strengthening resilience of young people and also everybody, like the community. Our latest report of the World Volunteering Report says that volunteers are the great resource. It's the greatest asset which is available to the humankind. Every year, as per our latest estimate of 2019, of course, about millions of volunteers, of course, volunteer. But if we combine the work time given by the volunteers, it is equivalent to more than 1 billion full-time workers. No country, no government, no multinational, nobody has that kind of workforce. So we can well imagine the contribution of volunteers in the context of social, economic, cultural, environmental life of people. And as we have been discussing about the challenges and opportunities for young people, particularly from India and abroad, and how Indian diaspora and Indian youth can come together and work together, I think volunteering provides an ample opportunity. In India, as we know, volunteering is highly entrenched in our social cultural ethos, and it is equally applicable for most of the societies and communities. Millions of Indian volunteers volunteer every day. We have heard about 7 million, 8 million volunteers who work within the larger umbrella of the Government of India, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. But I suppose there are much bigger number of volunteers who day in and day out come out in the service of communities. And it is very heartening to note that the Government of India actually runs volunteering program in the country for the young people and provides spaces, opportunities, and motivates them, encourages them to work for larger common good of the society. And in India, I must say that we have all kinds of volunteers being promoted by the government, central ministries and departments, state governments, private sector, NGOs, and many other players come, philanthropic organizations, faith-based organizations, and you name it, and you have wonderful examples. And I will be giving you some feel of the work which is being done by young people, particularly in the rural areas of India. But if you see the kind of volunteering which is done, it is across the spectrum of the sustainable development goals, be it poverty reduction, be it on health or equality for gender and disabled people, environment and climate change, education, and so on and so forth. And there are so many local initiatives which are being taken by even the government. I will give you one example of Teach Mayurbhanj. You can Google it. Teach Mayurbhanj. They said Mayurbhanj is a district in Orissa. It is one of the aspirational districts. This is one of the backward districts, you can say, and where the local district authorities have decided to enlist volunteers as teachers. to improve the learning outcomes of people, students coming from underprivileged background who mainly go to the government schools in the rural areas. So that kind of small initiatives that have been taken across the country. I would like to, actually, I thought that I must give you some sample of volunteering work which is being done by young people in this country, and particularly those coming from rural areas. So I would like to share my screen and run you through a small presentation, which will give you a kind of understanding as to how Are you able to see my screen now? Can you confirm?
Not yet.
It is not visible, sir.
Now?
Now, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Right. So very quickly, I will run through a small presentation to give you a feel of kind of volunteering. But then I think no conference, no meeting is complete without a couple of references to our great Indian ever born, I suppose, Swami Vivekananda, particularly his work for young people. I will quote him. So I start quoting: ask nothing, want nothing in return, give what you have to give. It will come back to you, but do not think of that now. It will come back, multiplied thousandfold, but the attention must not be on that. Yet, have the power to give, so give willingly. If you wish to help a man, never think what that man's attitude should be towards you. So I think it is one of the most apt quote of Swami Vivekananda on volunteering. I would take you to some of the work we have been doing with the ministry to promote volunteering. And we have one initiative where we have started recognizing the good work, the inspiring work of volunteers and who promote volunteering. And we have a V award. So I will give you a few of them. We had 3 editions of awards from 2018, 2019, and 2020. Each year we are recognizing volunteers, 10 volunteers every year, and that's about, we have a cohort of 30 volunteers who are taking, actually multiplying it manifold. But I will give you some examples as to how the change makers from India are trying to solve some of the challenges we face together. Malhar is a very young person. He wanted the Mumbai beaches plastic free. So while in his school, he started this in 2017 and now runs weekly cleanup drives in various beaches of Mumbai. We have Krishna Kumar, who was also awardee under the B Awards, and he works extensively in Kerala for protecting environment and ecological system. We have this girl, Bitu Kumari. She's just 19 years old, and she comes from Madhubani, Bihar. And as many of you know that the social milieu of Bihar and the kind of social, economic, cultural conditions there exist. And this young girl works against dowry, female feticide, child marriages, etc. And her contribution was extraordinary, I must say. I'm not giving all the details, but she was one of the awardees in 2018. We have Abhijit Upadhyay. He's a medical student. He's doing his bachelor's in medicine. He works with the young children, particularly in the rural Orissa, and basically on child rights, education, and community-based solutions. And he actually has developed a network of volunteers and training them as to how to empower, children in the rural areas. Again, like Neetu Kumari, who is just 19 years old, again coming from Gaya, one of the aspirational districts of Bihar. And she works against violence, sexual harassment, and child abuse. She works with a network of volunteers. So she has created a large number of volunteers within the local community. And she was again awarded for this. We have Al-Jubair Sayed. He's 27 years. He's a mechanical engineer. But then in Gujarat, he found that women are, particularly tribal women, are finding difficult regarding the cooking, because they use your traditional means of cooking, which is not healthy. And so he started a very low-cost solar cooker based on his small investment. And now he has almost empowered 1,500 women. And the women are trained and they are now making their own solar cookers. So he was actually recognized for his service. Again, like Kavya Raman, he comes from one of the southern states, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. And she has been working on making plastic waste-free villages. And she was a fellow under the State Bank of India. And she worked extensively to make a couple of villages in Rajasthan plastic and waste-free. You have Rumi Kumari. She is a tribal girl. She comes from a very poor socioeconomic background, you can say, in terms of her education, access to various services. But she says she herself has become a change maker. She is now an Ashoka Youth Fellow. And Rumi has been working mainly to prevent child marriages among tribal communities. This human service he was recognized. Again, like Jhumika Malik, she is just 22 years, and she comes from one of the backward districts in the country, Kandhamal in Odisha, and she also belongs to a very small remote village. Basically, she has been working among the local communities and tribal communities to ending child marriage. We have Sanket Men, 29 years old, Mumbai. He runs computer literacy programs for underprivileged children who live in slum areas. We have recognized Anju Barma. She is just 16-year-old from Haryana, and she has been extensively working with a network of young people, volunteers, in preventing school dropouts and stopping child labor among the communities. We have this very young girl from Haridwar, Manu Kajla, and she has been working with street children who live in slums, who are not privileged enough to go to schools. And she teaches, she goes, takes time out, and she has been trying to take these kids to government schools and municipal schools. We have another volunteer, Tejasvi Verma. He's just 20 years. He comes from Rajnandgaon in Chhattisgarh, again, one of the poor districts of the country. And he has been extensively working on nutrition among women and children. So he is actually working with the farmers and the local community and uses innovative methods to actually encourage farmers to go for multiple crops so that the required nutritional needs of the families are met. You might have seen that these people, and I have taken those who actually work with most marginalized people of the country. Most of them belong to maybe lower social economic background. They themselves have been going through a lot of challenges, and to some extent we can say that they are not privileged enough, but still they take time out and put their passion and energy for volunteering. So in India, while working with the Government of India, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, we find that volunteering should be a two-way journey. It's not that the young people who are coming and working as a volunteer should also get something in return. So we have been trying to focus that when volunteering is being done by young people, some skills like life skills and 21st century skills like communication skills, leadership skills, team building skills, problem solving skills also come into their way while they undertake volunteering journey. Similarly, it is totally experiential learning at work. So volunteers go and work with the small communities. They work with the government counterparts in the districts and block level and the village level. They work with the elected representatives at the block level. They create small networks in their and wherever in their residential areas, communities. They bond with the peers and they demonstrate their work through actions, and in the process they learn. And that is quite reflected in the volunteering work, which we capture every year. And it also provides them an opportunity to network with their mentors. So we have tried to see that the people who are better off, who have resources in terms of their access to education, etc. So they come together and work. So this model is actually working very, very well in the country. And I think going forward, this is the way we have to take volunteering. It should not be one-off, but it should be a journey where volunteers learn a lot of life skills. They also become in the process, and you might have seen many of the volunteers become entrepreneurs, particularly social entrepreneurs going forward. And volunteering provides an anchoring platform for them. So coming to the last part of my small presentation, particularly in terms of COVID and this new normal after the COVID pandemic, we have seen that human beings are exposed to such harsh realities of life, threats of war, disease, and disasters. But I think volunteers have contributed significantly. They make a lot of difference through their kindness, their compassion, their love, and their personal care. And during the COVID pandemic in India, we have seen that millions of volunteers stepped out, supported their communities despite facing serious challenges. And in the meantime, we also realized that volunteering landscape is changing. So we are now seeing more of a virtual and blended models, which are becoming popular among young people, particularly because of digital technology and availability of those things. Coming to the young people who are from the Indian diaspora, and also young people from India in this borderless world, I think there is no boundary. You can contribute wherever you are as a volunteer. You can become an online volunteer, and there are n number of platforms to become online volunteer and support your communities. Like you can become volunteer teacher, you can take summer leave, or you can come to India, you can teach students, and there are a number of opportunities available. I just quoted a couple of them because there is no, as you might have seen, the volunteers work across the spectrum of developmental challenges we face in this country. So absolutely there is no dearth of opportunities to come and serve the community. And I think this will be a great experiential learning, and it will be a journey if you volunteer and come India and do work with the community, co-create solutions with the local networks. And I think in all of this, fostering innovation for addressing social, economic, and environmental challenges will be the key to success. And there has been a lot of innovation happening in this field of volunteering. To quote something, online volunteering, as I told you earlier, is one of them. But then there have been technology platforms which have been created by young people for volunteering, and they are working as a marketplace for volunteers. Both they connect NGOs as well as the volunteers. There has been a lot of gamification in the volunteering sector. So solving ninjas are like one of the great success in this country, where young people are taking social challenges and trying to solve them, and while using the digital and digital technology and other means, and contributing through the network of volunteers. Hyper-local volunteering at the village level and block level, that is picking up. So all these innovation and technology-driven solutions are available, and I call upon all the people who would like to contribute to solving these challenges in the coming years. In India, with the government, we are also having, of course, on-site volunteering work with NYKS and NSS, that is the Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan and National Services Scheme, but then also online volunteers who have done wonderfully well during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is online volunteers sitting in their own homes. They have been reaching out to communities through social media and messaging apps and other means. And they have really made a lot of difference in terms of accessing information and correct information through the government channel. At the end, I would like to quote Mark Twain, and I quote, "India is the cradle of the human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend, and the great-grandmother of tradition. Our most valuable and most instructive materials in the history of man are treasured up in India only." Unquote. I call upon the Indian diaspora, wherever you are, you must come, explore India, contribute to India's growth. Thank you. Jai Hind. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. All the stories of volunteerism that you shared, I'm sure that all the people who are watching us live right now, they must be very inspired, especially the youngsters. So thank you so much once again. Now, the next panelist with us, she's also a young female developer and also a president of EMA Association, a leader in the IT world. She fights with her association to improve diversity in technology. Through the EMA Association, she wants to make technology accessible to everyone, thus seeking the inclusion of more girls and women in this field. Ms. Deepti Chande. In 2018, Forbes named Deepti in its list of 92 women to follow who are disrupting tech in France. So we are very delighted to have you with us, Ms. Deepti Chande. Please go ahead. Not hear you, Ms. Deepti. Ma'am, you are not audible to us. No, ma'am, we cannot hear you.
Is it better now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So I was saying thank you so much, Ruchi, for this introduction. So I'm glad to be here. And first of all, I would like to thank the Ministers of Youth and External Affairs for having me on this panel discussion. And thank you everyone who's watching this live event and all the participants. It's a pleasure to be here. Before I start, as you mentioned, Ruchi, about all the work I'm doing with EMA, I just wanted to quickly come back on my background. So it's completely gonna make sense about the fight I'm doing today. So basically, as she mentioned, I'm a developer, so I'm a software engineer. I'm based in Paris, in France, and it's a great opportunity to be a software engineer because sometimes we forgot that even women and girls can be software engineers. As you probably know, there is less women in technology. Unfortunately, technology is a field where only 5% of women around the world are working in tech. And so I'm among those women fighting for bringing more diversity in technology. One of the key elements I would like to share here for my background is that being in tech was not so easy, specifically because being a woman, being in a tech field which is dominated by men, so 95% dominated by men, which is a huge number of people in technology. And having done my graduation here in Paris, in France, I had a chance to see closely those technologies built by those big companies such as Google, Microsoft, and other big tech companies we were mentioning before in the panel discussion. And having worked as well in those companies made me feel like we can't leave 50% of the population, which is composed of women, who are not part of this changement. I would like to highlight something very important. Probably you already know is that today around the world, 50% of the population do not have access to internet. So we not giving to 50% of the population all the technical skills to prove themselves, to create new projects and to impact the society. And this is unfortunately very sad to know that in the 21st century and in 2021, still half of the population never use a computer, never use a telephone, never saw it actually. And that was one of the fight I wanted to bring and highlight today, is that technology is a wonderful tool. Like we having this conference through technology, and if technology was not there, we were not able to do this amazing conference and have those amazing people with us. So my fight started in 2013 when I've joined this computer science university here in France, and I've noticed something very funny at this time, because it made me laugh. But actually, at the end, it's a serious and a crucial topic. Is when I've joined this computer science university, I was sitting in my first lecture of coding, and I look around me, and we were 500 students, and among 500 students there were only 10 developer girls. So this is unfortunately the reality of technology today, is that tech positions and high level technical positions are majorly dominated by men. So I decided to engage myself in my NGO that I am the president. I would like quickly to share a presentation. Please let me know when you see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So just a quick presentation of what we're doing today and why it's super important more and more with the COVID. So EMA is an association that promote diversity in technology, but when we talk about diversity, it's not just only diversity based on gender equality, it's more than that. It's cultural diversity, handicap diversity, rural areas, because we should not forget rural areas as well. Those areas are not equipped of computers and internet, and we need also to bring those technologies there, because there are many great and it was presented by the panelists just before, people who engaging themselves, youth people who want to make a difference, and rural areas should also be part of the opportunities that technology can bring. As you probably know, technology got many different opportunities and jobs, and I'm highlighting few of them here because those are the ones who are impacting our daily basis life, such as artificial intelligence, cloud, data, which has been used, and unfortunately, when I was mentioning to you that there is a lot of possibilities in technology. 27 million of jobs around the world are available in software engineering, which is a very big number. But unfortunately, among this 27 million, only 14% are women, which is a number which is not that good. And among 40%, when you go deep in that, as I mentioned, I'm a software engineer, and among software engineers, there is only 4 to 5% women working in that. Talking about the tech industry in India, there is a lot of opportunities, as you know, India is known as the tech country. But the thing is that even if technology is moving very fastly, diversity is not moving that fastly. And so what we really need to bring is those technologies to every person. It can be poor person, girls, boys, anyone, to be able to take part of this journey, which are going to impact the coming years. I know that a program, Digital India, was launched in India, which is an amazing opportunities also to bring to those people those technical skills, so they can make the choice about which product they should use or not, based on the knowledge they're having on technology. And this has to be done now, because diversity is getting unfortunately not moving much, but technology is doing so. I just wanted to highlight something we launching next month in India. As you know, COVID has touched everyone, and not there is no country around the world who didn't got any cases of COVID. So we we decided during COVID, we faces the same issue as many companies and many NGOs, many people, is that we had to stop all our activities physically with kids and adults. So what we decided is to launch an initiative called Code at Home. This initiative first was launched in Europe and help us to bring many kids online, and those kids learn how to code everywhere around the world. So now is to launch in India next month. So we're planning to launch, of course, in India, but also in many other countries around the world. So we really need all your support, Ministry of Youth and External Affairs, and all the people looking at my presentation, to help me to learn the technical skills at the earlier age to kids in the coming months online, with all the EMA teams giving those coding sessions for free for kids. So there is no more bias regarding money, because money is one of the issues we face around the world. And through these free online sessions, kids will be able to learn those technical skills and create the path of their life, maybe in technology, become the next Mark Zuckerberg, or become the next Sundar Pichai. And this has to happen now. And due to COVID, the technology accelerated so much. It can be in vaccine area. It can be in any area. Technology is impacting everywhere. So we're planning to launch this sessions program next month online, and every kids around the world will be able every week to get training on different coding languages. And we're planning so until 2022 to train 1 million kids online. But as you know, in India, like in other countries as well, many schools, many territories are not equipped of computers and not having Wi-Fi, which add more bias, which add more inequalities. And so we're working with many tech companies around the world to equip also those villages, those cities, those schools with computers. So I just wanted to have all your support on this project, and I really hope that you'll be able to talk around about those sessions, which are going to help kids to be aware of technology, and not just to use them, but to use and also to understand them, which is super important. I would like to end up by showing you some pictures of kids which were trained during the first lockdown, and they received a certificate as well signed by the French government here, who's supporting this project. And I just wanted to show those pictures because the smile we saw on their face and the happiness we saw during the lockdown period, which was a hard period for everyone, till those sessions bring some light to their life, and they were able to fight this pandemic situation. So that's all what I wanted to share. Thank you so much, and please feel free to reach out to me if you have any question or just to talk on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Deepti. It was wonderful to listen to your experience and the initiative that your association, EMA Association, is taking, Code at Home. All the very best to you for that. Now, moving ahead, I would like to request Ms. Ranjeet Kaur to deliver her address and share her experience with us. About Ms. Kaur, she is originally from Punjab. She's born and raised in Lebanon. Ms. Kaur is currently working as a French teacher in a school there, and she is a polyglot, enjoys strong hold on English, Arabic, French, Spanish, Hindi, and Punjabi. She has worked closely with NGOs to help Indians residing in Lebanon and is working as assistant manager with a reputed organization there. So, Ms. Ranjeet Kaur, please share your experience with us.
Thank you so much. Honorable Ministers and Honorable Secretary, thank you so much for having me today. I wish you all a happy and prosperous New Year. So, as you know, India and Lebanon have historically enjoyed close and friendly relationships. India established diplomatic relations with Lebanon in 1954. Shared commonalities include, besides cultural similarities, a democratic parliamentary system of government based on written constitution, basic freedoms and human rights, a market economy moving towards greater liberalization, a large pool of educated English-speaking professionals and entrepreneurs, and a vibrant global diaspora. Lebanon is known as a tiny country, but the population is very varied. The lifestyle is relaxed, but by no means lazy. Until recently, Lebanon was a war-torn nation. Much of the capital city of Beirut was ruined. So approximately all the youth present here, with the help of the Indian embassy, we tried to make some of the to help them economically and to deal with the environmental disaster in here. So the embassy, with the help of the youth, attaches highest property to reach out the Indian community in an earnest, active, helpful, and broad-based manner, and ensuring their well-being and welfare. And in light of COVID-19 pandemic and the travel restriction, and the embassy facilitated 3 special community charter flights. After the aftermath of tragic explosions of August 4 in Beirut, approximately all the international people lived in Lebanon, including the Indian youth, tried the most to help them to recapitulate the ruins. So we handed over the consignment of medical aid containing PPEs. We made a donation of office equipments. Lebanon is not a country that maintain very good relations with its migrants. So you can see the Indian youth who's been working here are being kind of excluded from labor law protections. They cannot leave or change employees, and they're facing a lot of pressure. But thankfully, with some of the broad help, we are trying to reform a new labor law to be able to help all the youth living in Lebanon or most of the Arab countries to be helping to have a good life. So for strengthening the relations, we are trying to make some exchange programs between the 2 countries, having Indians from India, the youth, to be studying in Lebanon and vice versa, so they can know more of the culture of both of the countries. So the Lebanese people have traditionally admired Indian music, films, cuisine, and an increasing number of them are also interested in yoga. So yoga is being the main point between the 2 countries, so we can join them by this. There has been a large and enthusiastic participation in the public events, but due to COVID-19, we're not able to move and give more ideas about Indian and to help and provide the youth more information to be able to go forward in here. So this is as per Lebanon. So we're thinking about moving towards India to take a group from here, so they can be able to work more, to have more trade between the both countries. So the trade between India and Lebanon was more working during July 2019 to June 2020 and stopped by now. Again, as per conclusion, I would like to invite every one of you to be in Lebanon to visit this awesome, beautiful country. And thank you again for letting me participate in this. Thanks a lot. To you, Ruchi, thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your experience with us, Ms. Ranjit Kaur. Next, we have P. Palash Gupta. He's a chairman, Delaware Commission on Indian Heritage and Culture. Also, the chairman, Delaware Asian American Business Association. So we would like to hear from Mr. Palash now.
Can you hear me, Ruchi?
Palash, you're audible.
Thank you, Ruchi. Thank you. Myself, Palash Gupta from Delaware, USA, state of President-elect Joe Biden. I would like to begin by saying how deeply honored I am representing the Indian diaspora in the United States of America in front of such an esteemed global audience. I am honored and humbled to represent the 2nd largest population of the Indian diaspora in the world. Thanks to the Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs, and Embassy of India in Washington, D.C. for including me in this prestigious event. Today's topic is bringing together young achievers from India and Indian diaspora. The youth of India has played a very major role in the society to find out who they want to be and how they want to form their identity. They also play an essential role in adapting and reshaping social norms. They appreciate the works of those who have labored tirelessly before them and mentor the young and share with the society what they have learned about themselves and the world. Indians with their deep roots in professional education, culture, and management have classically formed the largest group of skilled migrants by demographics in any country where the Indian diaspora is present. The Migration Policy Institute noted in their article, Indian Immigrants in the United States, and I quote, Indian immigrants are notable not only for their large numbers. Indian immigrants are more likely to be highly educated, to work in management positions, and to have higher incomes. They also have lower poverty rates and are less likely to be uninsured, unquote. I am sure my fellow panelists would agree that we are now at a major crossroad after 1980s when Indians had just started migrating to other countries. That the second and in some cases the third generation born in foreign lands have come of age when they start determining and setting their future and career goals. Notwithstanding the fact that almost all migrants chose their trade based on the unique disposition of their host countries, the Indian diaspora still hold a deep-rooted belief in traditional professions, medical, engineering, law, etc., and to an extent have been instrumental in influencing our progenes to stick to tradition. I'm not saying this is wrong. In fact, most of the top achievers find their origins in the traditional professions. A lot of our traditional mindset can be attributed to the people who completed their studies and spent most of their childhood and young adulthood in India before moving out. The new generation that is born and has grown up in the local societies and the school systems of their adopted countries have a different mindset, more attuned to the current and prevailing trends of their economies. And therefore, Indian youth is also slowly moving away from their traditional career fields and going into arts and film direction, culinary arts, international trade and policy. However, in the newer areas of science and technology, be it artificial intelligence, medical robotics, machine and deep learning, quantum computing, data analytics, fintech, the Indian youth have excelled on and are way ahead of other groups. Today's youth of Indian origin have expanded their horizons far beyond the local and national spelling bee contests. A number of young second-generation Indian American actors have made their mark in Hollywood, in the medical field, and also in the current pandemic. There are a number of prominent Indian youth physicians who are at the forefront as first responders and heading significant positions in CDC, NIH, and other reputable institutions in the US. They are making a mark in almost every field, be it famous musicians or Michelin-starred chefs or scientists. Noted astronauts like Kalpana Chawla, Sunita Williams, who has spent one of the longest duration in the International Space Station, or Rajachari, who is the finalist for the 2024 Moon mission, are some of the prime examples of youth icons who hold the Indian banner high. It is also heartening to note that Indians played a major role in almost every administration in the United States, and there are over more than 20 Indians, a majority of them who are second-generation Indian youth, in prominent roles in the upcoming Biden-Harris administration. In the United States, a child can nurture a choice of career from early on and can get multiple opportunities, starting from high school all the way to graduation. The US has been a mecca for any profession you choose. You will find the best school, the best university in the world for that profession in the US itself. And you will majorly find Indians in almost each and every Ivy League. It is the Indian students who determine how high a school district is rated. So how does that happen? It all happens due to the perseverance of the quintessential Indian parent who inculcates the habit of consistent and persistent efforts in the children to achieve that dream. They work hard and provide their children with an environment of familial stability, financial well-being, and an atmosphere fit for education, we can take pride that single-parent families are a rarity among the Indian diaspora. In my closing statement, I would like to note here that all our achievements and heights attained were not by sudden flight. It's our education and a culture of harmony and hard work that we bring from India as a society. And my words will fail if I don't bow down to our forefathers and our motherland, India, for building in us this sense of resilience. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. Palash. And after your address, actually, the poem I shared earlier, the second half of the poem speaks about exactly what you shared, and I cannot resist myself from sharing that. The words are, "O mother, we cross the ocean and seas with many generations of yours, with your blessings. We made new lands prosperous. We made knowledge as the way of life, sweat as the way of life, and we give and give to honor you. What we do is for honoring you. We will always be children yours. Wherever we are, whatever we do, we will always be children yours. O Mother, Mother India." So beautiful presentation by you. And now we are moving forward to our next panelist. We have Shri Sid Vashisht, and he's the youngest ever elected councillor to serve on the Barkly Region Council and the first Indian-born person to have served on any council in the Northern Territory. He is the principal member for Australia-India Business Council Northern Territory chapter and an Australia-India Youth alumnus with a keen interest in polity, society, and economy. He is a firm believer in an open and transparent government with an active participation of youth. Act local, think global is what he believes. So we would like to hear from Sid Vashisht now.
Thank you, Ruchi. Namaste, and should I say good day from the land down under, Australia. Ruchi, before I proceed, I'll quickly share my screen just to make sure the technology is doing fine. Just let me know.
Yes, exactly. It's visible to us. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Ruchi. Today, I'm speaking from Tennant Creek in Northern Territory, Australia, the land of Warramungu people. Before I proceed, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the country, past, present, and future. It is an honour and privilege to represent 700,000 strong Indian diaspora in Australia in front of all these amazing, powerful change makers who are influencing decision making wherever you are. I will take this opportunity to acknowledge all the ministers, government officials, distinguished guests, and my fellow panelists. What a world we are in, virtual conference. Great to be here today. Quickly share my story. My journey started as an international student with dreams and visions and aspirations to make a better life. I came to Australia. Cut the long story short, now I'm an elected member, councillor in the Barkly Regional Council in the Northern Territory, Australia. Barkly Regional Council, just to talk about the land area, covers about 323,000 square kilometres, and with a population of approximately 7,500 people. In comparison, when you talk about Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, the states in India, combined is about 96,000 square kilometres. So that's what, with a population of approximately 73 million people. Just to carry on the comparison, when you talk about my local government area, I'm covering a region that is as big as Rajasthan or even bigger than the state of Madhya Pradesh or Maharashtra, India. Our political journey has been very interesting. Just recently, in August last year, I was endorsed as a Labour candidate, and I was quite fortunate to represent my constituency as a Labour candidate and contested the Northern Territory Legislative Assembly elections. Unfortunately, I missed out by mere 5 votes. But that is the nature of the beast in politics. I've rolled up my sleeves and I'm moving forward to the next adventure. Before I proceed and talk about the importance of why young Indian achievers and Indian diaspora around the globe, why should we come together? Why is it important? I'll quickly tell you a bit of a background about my lifestyle in Northern Territory and the beautiful Barkly region. In the Territory, thinking big is nothing new. It's what we do. We are land rich, we are mineral rich. Our indigenous culture is over 60,000 years old, and it links to India. We have unmatched natural resources, one of the best solar radiances in the world. Doing business in the Territory is an investment in unmatched proximity to India. Darwin is the closest Australian capital city to growing Asian markets, connected to a 24/7 international airport with a functional deep water port, the only functional deep water port in Northern Australia. There's some key sectors that there's opportunities for partnership, whether it's agribusiness, international education or training, space and defense. I'm not going to go into that, but just sharing that with you. Barkly region is my home, close to my heart, and region project that's been given major project status from Australia government and from the Northern Territory government. Sun Cable project. It is world's biggest solar farm, world's biggest the world's biggest undersea cable, world's biggest battery. By 2027, my region could potentially supply the electricity for Singapore. 1/5 supply, 20% of electrical supply would be provided by our sun in the beautiful Barkly. The Beetaloo Basin is a shale gas resource. It contains enough energy to power Australia for 200 years. Just one layer of the shale gas, we're talking about 500,000 cubic feet gas. All right, enough about Barkly. Now, why do I think it's important to stay connected with the Indian achievers in India and Indian diaspora? People-to-people connect. The person-to-person connection that we build is something that opens the gates to future partnerships. And furthermore, just to talk about, as I said, 700,000 strong Indian diaspora in this region. We are the second highest tax-paying migrants after the British in Australia. The Australian Indian diaspora is a national economic asset and should be engaged and deployed as such by the Australian and Indian government. To me, I think there's 3 dimensions: economic, social, and political, why it's important to have us working together. Australia's ties with India are long-standing and strong. What's now needed is a step change in economic partnership, led at the highest level of government and business, and that will be done by the youth. Indian government and Australian government should work together to have a young pool, talent pool of, recognize the young pool, the recognition and requisition of the youth. Let's do what we're doing today. Pravasi Bharati Divas is giving a perfect platform. Let's continue this conversation. Let's involve the youth from all around the globe, India, Australia, and continue these dialogues in different sectors, whether it's business or it's politics. Let's start the conversation on a quarterly basis and see what happens next. Social outcomes. It is extremely important for Indian young achievers and Indian diaspora to look beyond our privileges. We're quite lucky, and I think most of you will agree with that. Let's work for a social change within our communities. It is a fact that most of our Indian youth and Indian diaspora often finds ourselves in the marginal communities. Henceforth, it is incumbent upon us to work towards a society that truly embraces pluralism, where we can provide an equality of opportunity to everyone. I'm involved in politics, and I do encourage all the Indian diaspora to get more involved in politics at all levels of government. It's very important. It will only strengthen our bilateral relationships even more and lead to significant as well as impactful outcomes for our respective nations. Partnerships between young Indian counterparts in political sector in India and young Indian diaspora is a perfect gateway from potential to delivery, and it's going to definitely lead up to providing fruitful outcomes. I'd like to just end this by saying thank you, Dhanyawad. Just ending on a lighter note. That's my beloved mother on the right, with my future wife-to-be in a sari, having a cross-cultural dialogue. My key message to everyone is keep maintaining the grit, dharya rakho, stay persistent, drid raho, and keep on thinking local and acting global. Thank you. And in Waramangu language, Kamara.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Sid. Moving ahead, we have our next speaker, Mr. Thinalan T. Rajagopalu. He's a Malaysian politician and lawyer graduated from Queensland University of Technology. Thinalan is currently the National Youth Leader of Malaysian India Congress, MIC, a component of National Front or Barisan Nation Coalition. So over to you, Mr. Thinalan.
Thank you, Ruchi. Can you hear me? Is
you are
it clear? Can you hear me?
Yes. You are loud and clear.
All right. Thank you so much. And first and foremost, I would like to say a warm welcome and thank you for having me here, to the ministers, to the secretaries, and also not forgetting the Excellency Mr. Mridul Kumar, the High Commissioner of India and Malaysia, and also to Mr. Nishit Kumar, the Council of India and Malaysia, and also thank you to all the organizers of this Youth Pravasi. Thank you so much. And let me just introduce myself to you all. My name is Thinalan from Malaysia. I'm from the Malaysian Indian Congress political party. So I represent the youth in Malaysia. So let me just start with what is Malaysian Indian Congress is all about. Malaysian Indian Congress is a Malaysian political party and is one of the founding members of the ruling coalition Barisan Nasional, previously known as the Alliance, that has been in power since the country achieved independence in 1957. The MIC was established in August 1946 and has ceased to exist at the end of World War II to fight for Indian independence from British colonial rule. After India gained its independence, MIC involved itself in the struggle for the independence of Malaya, now which is called Malaysia, and has achieved independence in 1957. It positioned itself for representation on behalf of the Indian community in the post-war development of the country. The MIC has joined the National Alliance, comprising of the United Malays National Organization, that is UMNO, and the Malaysian Chinese Association, that is MCA, in 1954, which became the Barisan Nasional in 1973, with further expansion in the number of component parties. Now, the current president of our Malaysian Indian Congress is Tan Sri Wigneswaran, who was the former Senate President of Malaysia. In Malaysia, we have 32.7 million population, 32.7 million. Out of 32.7 million, 7% are Indians. That comes to about 2.28 million Indian citizens in Malaysia. In Malaysia, we have Tamil Indian primary school, Indian Tamil school. Outside of India, this is one country where we still have Tamil schools, we still have temples, and Indians are well taken care in this country. Let me just share something with you about our Malaysian Indian Congress, what actually we do. We do have universities. In Malaysia, we have private and public universities. As such, we own a university in the state of Kedah, whereby its name is AIMS, a medical university, which was founded in March 2001. It is a private university where lots of youngsters studies there, a lot of Indians who studies there, And we also give scholarships, a lot of scholarships to the young achievers. If you achieve good grades, we give scholarship to study in these universities. And also, we also have another university, another college, which is TAFE College, a skill training academy, whereby this institute caters for school dropout to be groomed in soft skills, which has graduated over 1,000 students. This is what we do in Malaysia. We care for our Indian youngsters, Indian diasporas. We also have this MIED, whereby this particular body gives loans and also scholarship for the students. This is all an initiative by our political party, that is the Malaysian Indian Congress. And in my Malaysian Indian Congress, under the youth, we have a sports bureau, whereby the role of the sports bureau is to identify young Indian talents and also assist them to achieve their dreams. We also have a yearly event which is called Sukan India Malaysia, which is, if we translate into English, it's called Indian Sports Championship, whereby it's a nationwide tournament only participated by the young local Indians. It's a platform created for local Indians to participate and achieve a lot of things. Outstanding talents will be identified and be approached to participate in national teams and also in professional clubs. The mainstream sports in Malaysian Indians, whereby they are football, badminton, tennis. In squash, we have a SEA Games gold medalist. In taekwondo, we have Indian who is in world ranking, SEA Games medalist, and also in karate. In Malaysia, we also have a unit called MITRA, Malaysian Indian Transformation Unit, which is called MITRA. It is led by the Ministry of National Unity, a special unit addressing the aspect of social economic development of the Indian community in Malaysia, specifically for the below 40 group. In this way, this particular unit have been established since 2008 through the Barisan National Government and also through the Malaysian Indian Congress political party, whereby 16,800 young entrepreneurs has been funded at a subsidized interest loan of close to USD 62 million over the last 10 years under a government-backed initiative. In 2020, 6.8% new registered companies is by the youth on e-commerce and digital economies are owned by the Indians in Malaysia. This is a big achievement by Indians in Malaysia. And before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to propose to the Youth Pravasi Divas organizers to kindly create a platform to connect the Indian youth around the world to exchange their ideas and resources. You have this platform, we have this platform yearly, but we are empowering our Indian youths to the eyes of the world. We want a platform for us to share our ideas and thoughts. Not yearly basis, but if possible, maybe every single day or every month or every 2 weeks once, and an application to be done by these organizers, because as the pandemic has hit the whole world, we have moved forward by practicing more virtual session to connect each other. This would be a great time to create a platform to connect all the Indian youth around the world. Our president, Tan Sri S.A. Wigneswaran, was a former youth leader of the party during 2004. He was invited to be a part of this session, those days in 2004, whereby he has mooted this idea of connecting all the Indian youngsters around the world together, throughout the country to be together. Maybe this is the best time for us to create a platform to engage with all the youngsters, the Indian youngsters in around the world. In future, we, the MIC, the Malaysian Indian Congress, would like to invite all the Indian youths to be a part of our convention and also the youth event. We will also invite all of y'all through a social media in which we could showcase Malaysian Indian youth under this platform. I believe the theme of bringing together India's young achievers and diaspora young achievers from different walks of life will be achieved if we could materialize this connectivity throughout the world. And thank you so much for the organizers for having me here, and also to the Malaysian Indian High Commission, Mr. Mridul Kumar, and also to Mr. Nishit. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone. Namaste, Vanakkam.
Thank you, Mr. Thinalan, for sharing with us all the wonderful work that your organization is doing there. It's definitely inspirational for the youngsters and viewers who are watching this program right now. Next, we have Mr. Jaswinder Pal Singh Richa, a mechanical engineer by profession and sports enthusiast. He was born in Ludhiana, Punjab, and moved to Norway in 1974. Jaswinder ji is the president of Norwegian Field Hockey Association since 2005 and board member of Norwegian Bandy Federation. He's also running a sports club in Norway promoting sports among children. So over to you, Jaswinder ji.
Thank you. Do you hear me? Thank you. मेरी आवाज आपको सुनाई दे रही है?
बिल्कुल सुनाई दे।
ओके, थैंक यू। सबसे पहले तो आपका शुक्रिया कि आपने मेरे को इनविटेशन दिया। और यहाँ नॉर्वे में गुड मॉर्निंग, इट्स -10 डिग्री सेल्सियस एयर आउटसाइड, इट्स स्टिल कोल्ड। तो सबसे पहले मैं थोड़ा सा हिस्ट्री के बारे में आपको बताना चाहता हूँ नॉर्वे में हॉकी की। यहाँ मैं 74 में आया था। उस टाइम वहाँ 300 पीपल इंडियन लोग थे यहाँ रहते, और पाकिस्तान की गिनती 5000 थी। तो उस वक्त वैसे किसी को आइडिया आया, और मेरे को और 2-3 पाकिस्तानियों को फ्रेंड्स के जहाँ जो हमारी नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स है वो है हॉकी, जहाँ नॉर्वे में किसी को फील्ड हॉकी के बारे में नहीं जान पहचान थी। तो जहाँ जो हिस्ट्री की पहले ट्रेनिंग थी वो 1976 में थी, जिसने मैंने पार्ट लिया था, और उसके बाद सिलसिला अभी तक चल रहा है। और 1981 में हमने पहली जो इंडियन कम्युनिटी की हॉकी टीम थी या हॉकी क्लब एस्टेब्लिश की थी, जिसका नाम है क्रिंगशो स्पोर्ट्स क्लब, जो अभी भी चालू है और जहाँ नॉर्वे की सबसे बिगेस्ट हॉकी क्लब है, और जिसके मेंबर इंडियन कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं। सभी 99% इंडियन कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं, जो अब तक वो 3rd जनरेशन है जो हॉकी खेल रही है। और उस टाइम 2 पाकिस्तान की टीम थी और एक इंडिया की। वहीं वो पुरानी जो इंडियन टीम थी, पहले हम हारते थे क्योंकि हमारे पास बहुत कम प्लेयर थे इंडियन बैकग्राउंड के। तो उसके बाद जब हमने हार्ड ट्रेनिंग की, नए प्लेयर आए, तो हमने जीतना शुरू किया। तो 5 साल कंटिन्यूली हम कभी भी कोई भी मैच पाकिस्तानी टीम से नहीं हारे थे जहां नॉर्वे में। तो ये तो हमारी ये फ्रेंडलीशिप थी, कोई हमारी दुश्मनी नहीं है पाकिस्तान से, सभी स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन हैं। तो उसके वक्त सिलसिला चलता रहा, और 1984 में मैंने और दूसरे पाकिस्तानी क्लब लोगों ने इसको इंटीग्रेट कर दिया नॉर्वेजियन बैंडी फेडरेशन, क्योंकि हमारे गवर्नमेंट का ऑर्डर था कि इसको ऑर्गेनाइज कैसे किया जाए इस हॉकी स्पोर्ट्स को। तो 1984 में हम चले गए नॉर्वेजियन बैंडी फेडरेशन। इस वक्त उसके बाद नाम पड़ गया नॉर्वेजियन हॉकी एसोसिएशन, जहां जो हमारी एसोसिएशन बनी। नॉर्वेजियन हॉकी एसोसिएशन इज ए पार्ट ऑफ नॉर्वेजियन बैंडी फेडरेशन, और नॉर्वेजियन बैंडी फेडरेशन वी हैव 30,000 मोर देन 30,000 प्लेयर्स, एंड आई एम सिटिंग देयर आल्सो एज एग्जीक्यूटिव बोर्ड मेंबर। जो मेरी जॉब है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, मैं वॉलंटियर हूँ। ते जो गवर्नमेंट को जो भी फॉरेन को प्रॉब्लम आती है, जैसे कि डिस्क्रिमिनेशन स्पोर्ट्स, ऐसे मामलों में हम बात करते हैं गवर्नमेंट से, क्योंकि मोस्टली जो अभी भी जो हॉकी खेलते हैं ना 90% वो फॉरेन कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं, इंडिया, पाकिस्तान और कुछ ऑस्ट्रेलियन, जहां जिन लोगों को हॉकी आती है। तो उसकी वजह से मैं हूँ नॉर्वेजियन हॉकी एसोसिएशन का प्रेसिडेंट लास्ट 15 ईयर्स। तो जहां भी नॉर्वे को रिप्रेजेंट करना होता है इंटरनेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म पर, तो नॉर्वे की तरफ से मैं जाता हूँ। यूरोपियन हॉकी फेडरेशन की कांग्रेस हो, वर्ल्ड हॉकी की कांग्रेस हो, नॉर्वे की नेशनल टीम, नॉर्वे की क्लब्स टीम ने बाहर पार्टिसिपेट करना, वो सब मेरे थ्रू जाता है। और गवर्नमेंट को हम रिपोर्ट देते हैं कि हमने क्या फॉरेन कम्युनिटी के लिए हम क्या कर रहे हैं, इंडियन लोग जहां जब फॉरेन कम्युनिटी के बच्चे क्या कर रहे हैं। जो हमारी क्रिंशो स्पोर्ट्स क्लब है उसमें सबसे जो बच्चे हैं, हम कोशिश करते हैं कि जो इंडियन कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं उनको स्पोर्ट्स की तरफ लाया जाए, उनको स्पोर्ट्स तरफ के लाने के लिए। क्योंकि ऐसा है, क्योंकि कई लोग तो यहाँ हमारा बहुत थैंक्स करते हैं, क्योंकि have be a proud of member of Kingshaw Sports Club. We have both girls and boys. They have been the member of Kingshaw Sports Club, and now they are advocates, doctors, PhD students, everything, because we have the big knowledge in our club. उस नॉलेज की वजह से एक दो बच्चे हैं जो इंडियन बच्चे दूसरों बड़ों से सीखते हैं कि जो ये डॉक्टर बन गया, जो इंजीनियर बन गया, तो मेरे को भी इसमें कुछ सीखना चाहिए कि मैं भी आगे बनकर कुछ ना कुछ करूं। इस चीज की बदौलत है कि जो इंडियन कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं इस वक्त एजुकेशन में बहुत नॉर्वे में आगे हैं। तो दूसरी जो प्रॉब्लम आ रही है कि जो नॉर्वेजियन गवर्नमेंट है जो चाहती है कि जहाँ का बच्चा बुढ़ा जो भी हो स्पोर्ट्स में इन्वॉल्व होना चाहिए। और ये नॉर्वे पहला कंट्री होगा शायद दुनिया में जहाँ क्लब्स को रन करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट आपको इकोनॉमिकल हेल्प देती है। उसकी वजह से हम जो भी इंडियन बच्चा जो भी यहाँ आता है किसी से कोई मनी चार्ज नहीं करते खेलने का, उनको हॉकी स्टिक एवरीथिंग फ्री प्रोवाइड करते हैं। तो जो हमारी क्रिंशो स्पोर्ट्स क्लब है उसने नॉर्वे की जो चैंपियनशिप है वो तो बहुत बार जीती है, और वहाँ दूसरे में जो यूरोपियन हॉकी लीग है क्लब वाइज उसमें भी रिप्रेजेंट करते आ रहे हैं। पहले यहाँ नॉर्वे में जीते हैं, उसके बाद आगे जाते हैं आगे जीतने के लिए, कभी हार जाते हैं कभी जीत जाते हैं, कोई कंपटीशन थोड़ा सा हाई होता है। सर्दी है यहाँ, जो आउटडोर हॉकी है हम 3 महीने खेलते हैं, और जो इंडोर है वो 8 मंथ चलती है। क्योंकि उसकी वजह से सबसे जो बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, मेरे को गवर्नमेंट ने 15 साल पहले एक प्रोजेक्ट दिया था, वो ये है कि जो भी फॉरेन कम्युनिटी के बच्चे हैं, स्पेशल इंडियन या पाकिस्तानी लड़कियां हैं स्पेशल, वो स्पोर्ट्स में हिस्सा नहीं लेती, स्कूल में स्पोर्ट्स थोड़ी सी करती हैं और बाद में छोड़ देती हैं। तो हमने उसका सर्च किया तो गवर्नमेंट को बताया कि ठीक है कि हम अगर आपको गवर्नमेंट हमें फैसिलिटी दे तो हम जो इंडियन कम्युनिटी के बच्चे हैं या पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी के बच्चे हैं उनको हम स्पोर्ट्स में ले आएंगे। तो उसकी वजह ने हमने गवर्नमेंट को शो किया और क्लबें बनाई, लड़कियों से बच्चों से बात की और लड़कियों की टीम इंट्रोड्यूस की। सबसे जो क्रिंशो स्पोर्ट्स क्लब था जिसने 2004 में सबसे पहले नॉर्वेजियन गवर्नमेंट को प्योर गर्ल्स हॉकी क्लब बनाकर दी थी। तो उसके बाद से गवर्नमेंट ने हम पर यकीन किया, ते हमारे पास एक हॉकी स्टेडियम हमको बनाकर दिया गवर्नमेंट में 8 साल पहले, और जो दूसरा हॉकी स्टेडियम है ऑन द वे है, इट विल बी रेडी विद इन 3 मंथ्स। तो दूसरी जो जहाँ प्रॉब्लम नॉर्वे में आ रही है कि जो फॉरेन कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं उनके जो बच्चे थे स्पेशल पाकिस्तान के, वो जहाँ गैंगस्टर बनने शुरू हो गए थे। तो उसकी वजह से तो गवर्नमेंट ने सोचा कि अगर ये गैंगस्टर बन गए जहाँ तो बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आ जाएगी। तो हमने गवर्नमेंट को बताया कि ठीक है कि अगर आप हमारी मदद करते हैं, नई हमको फैसिलिटियां देते हैं, पिच देते हैं बनाकर, तो हम इन बच्चों की कोशिश करते हैं कि कोई भी बच्चा इस तरफ ना आ जाए। क्योंकि हम लोग इंडिया को बिलोंग करते हैं, हमारी शक्लें पाकिस्तान सभी लोगों की एक है। तो जहाँ किसी गोरे को क्या मालूम कि जो इंडिया या पाकिस्तान है, वो तो सभी का नाम तो बदनाम होगा जहाँ कालों का। तो उस चीज से हम बचने की कोशिश करते हैं कि कोई भी हमारा जो इंडियन कम्युनिटी का बच्चा है वो क्रिंशो स्पोर्ट्स क्लब की तरफ आए, ताकि हम कोई भी हमारा जो बच्चा है इस तरफ ना जाए, बैड थिंकिंग के पास ना जाए। और दूसरी अब जो प्रॉब्लम नहीं आई शुरू हो गई है यूरोप में, रिच कंट्री में, वो ये है कि जो बच्चे घर में बैठे कंप्यूटर पर बैठे हैं और गेम्स खेल रहे हैं, और इनको कई बार तो धक्के से लगाना पड़ता है कि स्पोर्ट्स की तरफ चलो, बाहर स्पोर्ट्स करो। और जो मच मोर अट्रैक्टिव समझते हैं कि ठीक है कि नहीं जी हम स्पोर्ट्स नहीं करेंगे, तो ले जाना पड़ता है इनको कि देखो जी नई टेक्नोलॉजी आ तो गई है, तो इसने जो इसके बैड इफेक्ट हैं वो ये हैं। बच्चे बैठे हैं घर में, कंप्यूटर गेम चल रही है और इनको बोलो कि ट्रेनिंग पर जाना, कहते हैं नहीं जी हम जब हमारा फ्रेंड हम गेम खेल रहे हैं, गेम ओवर हो जाएगी तो बाद में स्पोर्ट्स में चलते हैं। तो जहाँ लॉट्स ऑफ पॉसिबिलिटी है बच्चों को, मनी की इस कंट्री में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। जो क्रिंशो स्पोर्ट्स क्लब है, तो पहले वो जमाना था जब हम अपनी जेब से पैसे खर्चते थे, बहुत लॉट्स ऑफ मनी। कहते थे कि घर वाले जब मेरी शादी हुई थी तो घर वालों ने बता दिया था कि मेरी वाइफ को कि इस आदमी को इसके पहली ये शादी है इसकी हॉकी के साथ हो चुकी है ऑलरेडी। इसलिए जो हमारा जो पहला है कि ना, जो कुछ भी हो हमारी फैमिली में, कोई फंक्शन हो कुछ भी हो, हॉकी को फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी दी जाती है। पहले हॉकी के काम, बाकी बाद में देखा जाएगा। तो उसकी बदौलत ये हॉकी के काम करने की वजह से, क्योंकि तो फिर गवर्नमेंट को फॉरेन कम्युनिटी पर यकीन आ गया तो कि ये लोग हैं कि हॉकी वाले जो अच्छे काम करते हैं। हॉकी अच्छे काम के लिए जब भी गवर्नमेंट में जो प्रॉब्लम आती है फॉरेनर्स की, या डिस्क्रिमिनेशन इन स्पोर्ट्स, या बच्चों को स्पेशल लड़कियों को स्पोर्ट्स में कैसे लाया जाए, तो मेरे को वो एडवाइजर की तौर पर बुलाते हैं। तो अच्छा लगता है कि इंडियन कम्युनिटी के लिए काम करने के लिए। ये तो वॉलंटियर पोस्ट है, तो हम तो भी चाहते हैं कि सभी को इंडिया का नाम रोशन हो। कोई भी हमारा इंडियन कम्युनिटी वाला जहाँ लोग किसी बैड हैबिट्स या बच्चे बैड हैबिट्स की तरफ ना जाएं। तो मैंने हॉकी को अपना टाइम दिया, पर मेरे को भी हॉकी ने बहुत कुछ दिया। हॉकी हैज बीन माय लाइफ। तो जब भी इंटरनेशनल हॉकी फेडरेशन या वर्ल्ड हॉकी फेडरेशन पर मैं नॉर्वे की तरफ से रिप्रेजेंट जाता हूं, तो उन लोगों को यकीन नहीं आता कि मैं नॉर्वे का प्रेसिडेंट हूं। तो जब उनको फॉरेन लैंग्वेज बोलकर दिखाता हूँ कि नॉर्वेजियन, तो फिर उनको यकीन पड़ता है कि जो वाकई ये नॉर्वे का आदमी है, नॉर्वेजियन बोलता है, ये पंजाबी नहीं बोलता। थैंक्स आपका, आपने मेरे को टाइम दिया बोलने का। थैंक्स वेरी मच।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका जसविंदर जी, आपने जो अपने अनुभव हमारे साथ साझा किए। बहुत अच्छा लगा खेल को लेकर जो आपका जुनून है उसे देखकर, और जो भी काम आप वहाँ पे कर रहे हैं। तो मैनी कंग्रेचुलेशंस टू यू। एंड नाउ वी आर मूविंग फॉरवर्ड फॉर आवर लास्ट पैनलिस्ट फॉर दिस सेशन, एंड शी इज वेरी स्पेशल बिकॉज Sanjana Pancho Sharma, she's the last finalist for our session today, and she's 12-year-old, born and brought up in Kenya. She's an ace golfer, has won both the ladies stroke play and match play tournaments in the same year, being the youngest person in Kenya's history to achieve this. We are really very glad to have you with us, Sanjana, and waiting to hear from you. Sanjana? Sanjana Pancho Sharma, are you with us? Sanjana, can you hear us? I think there's some technical problem. So Sanjana, are you there? I think some technical issue is there. So, well, that was supposed to be our last address today for this session. And now, since she's not available with us, I would request Secretary Ma'am, Mrs. Usha Sharma, to please deliver the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Ruchi. And my compliments to you for conducting the session so well. Shri Sanjay Bhattacharya, Secretary Overseas Affairs, and the panelist, Dr. Yasmin Ali Haq, Shri Sipnath ji, Shri Arun Sehdev, Ms. Deepti Chandra, Ms. Ranjit Kaur, Mr. Palash Gupta, Mr. Sid Vashisht, Mr. Rajgopalu, Mr. Jaswinder Pal Singh Garcha, and Sanjana we could not hear. So I was listening to all of you, and it did cover a very wide range of issues and coming across from various countries. So it was a very, very interesting session. And I'm so thankful to all of you to sort of have made it to this technical session, which was very, very insightful and a lot of learnings. So it's been overall an enthralling experience today for all of us to be a part of this very, very vibrant exchange of ideas and dialogues on how do we bring together India's young achievers and diaspora from different regions of the world with the young achievers from various walks of life. Indeed, as exemplified today, youth activism and engagement can bring about important social and economic changes that are sometimes left behind. Every time we hear a group of young women and men such as yourself, and I feel very fortunate that as my opinion accords me this privilege, my opinion is reaffirmed that the youth opinion is very, very critical and needs to be therefore heard and acted upon. Through the deliberations of today, I do recognize that we have a very vibrant youth population in India and beyond. And when two powers fuse, tremendous changes can be brought about. So I was reminded today that we are in the midst of a learned and a wise beyond their years group of young people. We know that your civic, local, national, and global rights and duties, you know the challenges the country and the world faces. You realize that as you inherit this planet from us, your role in its development and sustainability is therefore very, very critical. The 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda highlights the future of humanity and of our planet lies in our hands. It lies also in the hands of today's younger generation who will pass the torch to the future generation. Today's generation of adolescent and young people, which is between the age group of 10 and 24, is close to 1.8 billion, more than at any other time in the history, approximately 90% of whom live in less developed countries. In the 17 Sustainable Developmental Goals adopted in 2015 by the international community, there are 20 youth-specific targets spread over 6 key Sustainable Developmental Goals. These are hunger, education, gender equality, decent work, inequality, and climate change, which clearly implies that young people's involvement is surely the key if a call for participation, inclusion, accountability, and revitalized global engagement, also embedded in Goal 16, which is peaceful, just, and inclusive society, and Goal number 17, which says of partnership and implementation, are to be achieved. You, as the youth diaspora, understand the power of network, cooperation, and relationship building. You understand the passion that must support your dialogue when you speak up. The resources you need to leverage the power of campaigning for good. The focused forums you must build for a robust exchange of ideas to unite communities and understand that you have in common as well as your differences in interest and perspective. Using your creativity for civic action, be it in arts, craft, dance, theater, sports, photography, you are harnessing the power of youth forums to expand knowledge and become better, active members of your society. The government, of course, is integrating the Sustainable Development Goals into its national and local strategies and supporting young people by creating formal spaces for their engagement, such as this which we are witnessing today and participating in it, and other national and international youth platforms to provide viable opportunities for young women and men to be present at the table, bring evidence, inform decisions, and influence developmental priorities and allocations. I hope that going forward from this platform, the immense learning and productive exchanges and interactions feed into the national and global youth agenda. My hope is also that as the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi addresses the diaspora and the country in Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2021, starting tomorrow, it marks the beginning of a new era and indeed a new decade of action where the youth takes the center stage and their ambitions fuel the fire of sustainable development. My heartiest congratulations and heartfelt gratitude to all of you for investing your intellect and passion into making this Youth Pravasiya Divas 2021 a big, grand success. Congratulations to all the young leaders and custodians of the future. Be an inspiration, believe in yourself, and follow your passion. You will surely change the world. Thank you so much. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. So it was wonderful to have you all with us. Thank you so much for sharing your time, your experience, your ideas with us. Thank you once again and have a very great day.
Thank you.